Hey again, it's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So today I'm home doing a couple quick projects and I thought I would set up the camera while I am working on them. So the project that you will see in this video is me thinning and pinching my Snapdragons. And this is something that I do every single year. And as you can see, the Snapdragon tray that I have in front of me is looking absolutely amazing, but it does need a little bit of attention. And these always get this way a few weeks before I am ready to plant them out. So that's what I'm working on today. It's two really easy steps that you can do to help generate way more blooms during the growing season. So this tray is meant to go in the hoop house. You can probably see my tape on the front. It says HH, that means hoop house. I also have Snapdragons that I started later that are not this far along, and those are going in ground. But this particular tray is for the hoop house, like I said, and the varieties in this tray are, looks like these are all Maryland. So Maryland Snapdragons are specially meant for greenhouses. And I have Maryland Apple Blossom, Shell Pink, Maryland Lavender, and Maryland White. So all really beautiful spring colors. And the first thing that I am going to do is start thinning these. Now by thinning the Snapdragons, basically I mean taking out extra plants within each cell. So with Snapdragons, I like to grow 1 to 2 plants per cell. That is it. Some plants, you definitely only want 1 plant per cell, but Snapdragons are okay planted together in sets of 2. In fact, if you order plugs from a company like Farmer Bailey, a lot of times when you get those plugs, they'll have 2 Snapdragons per cell. So that's how I'm growing mine this year. So some of my cells have 1 Snapdragon, 2 Snapdragons, but other cells, like one I'm looking at right here, has 4, just because I accidentally planted 4 seeds per cell. So I'm gonna go through this whole tray, and when I do these 2 steps, I will zoom in close so you guys can see, but I'm gonna go in and I am going to simply clip out the Snapdragons that I don't need and toss them. Now, one other thing that you can do if you have a really hard time getting rid of these extra plants, you can strip the bottom leaves, stick these in soil, they will start rooting, and you will have additional Snapdragon plants. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do that today because I have a lot of projects that I am working on, and I have enough Snapdragons for the season. But if you found that maybe a couple of your Snapdragon trays failed and you wanted more, you could clip out your extra ones, or when you clip the tops of them, when you pinch them, and you could actually make more plants with those extra cuttings. But again, I'm not gonna do that today. So what I am gonna do when I go through and thin these is I am going to keep the 1 or 2 stronger plants per cell, and I'm gonna clip out the weaker ones. So let me go ahead and move my camera closer so that when I'm clipping these out, you guys can see closer in detail what I'm actually doing. All right, so to do this, I'm using my little Fisker snips. I love these, and actually these are my harvesting snips. I'll link them down below. But you can see these front cells have more than 2 Snapdragons per cell. So I need to thin all of these. So this first one, you can see I have a plant here and a plant here, and then in the middle, there is a shorter plant here. So that is the one that I am going to get rid of. Same with this one. I have a really strong plant right here, and I have a really nice plant right here, but over here is another little one. I'm going to get rid of that one. And I am going to do that in all of these cells. Oh, this one actually only has 2, but see here again, I have 3. Now these 2 look about the same. I am going to clip this one because it is closer to this one. So if you're having a hard time deciding which one to clip, give them a little more room to breathe and grow as well, because that will definitely help them. All right, so I am gonna go through this whole tray and get them thinned out, and I'll show you what it looks like after we're done with that first step. Okay, so the first step is done. All of my cells are thinned to 1 or 2 plants, and you can already tell that the plants have a lot more air around them to move. And here are all the snapdragons that I cut out of there. Definitely half the tray. And again, if you have a hard time really thinning these out and you think that you're just wasting all these little plants, stick them in soil and they will root for you. But anyway, moving on to the next step is pinching these snapdragons. So basically what pinching means is you're cutting off the top above one of the other sets of leaves where they branch out, and that will encourage more branching. So you not only will get a much fuller plant, you will get all those new side shoots and branches and get much more blooms throughout the growing season. If you are curious whether a certain plant you are growing needs pinching, definitely look it up, because there are plants that you do not want to pinch, such as single stem sunflowers. They are one and done, so if you cut it, you're never going to get a flower off of those. Same with stock, not the quartet stock, but all of the other stock, those are one and done. Do not pinch those. You can easily find that information on different seed packets, Johnny's website, other flower farmer websites. You can find probably Floret, but you can find that information online whether your specific plant needs pinched or not. Zinnias are a really good one to pinch because those things just branch like crazy. Actually, you don't even have to pinch those if you want a branching plant, because once you harvest that first bloom, that plant will just start branching anyway. Anyway, enough of that rambling. I will zoom in so you guys can see the details on this too, but basically, I am going to go above the first set of true leaves, and I will show you what that is when I zoom in, but I'm gonna go in and I kind of bring my whiskers down to that set of leaves and I clip it there so I can get as close to that intersection as possible. And then this is the top of the plant, which I'm gonna discard, but again, you could pop it in soil. So now that the top of that plant is gone, right where those leaves come from the main stem, I would say within a few days, definitely a week, you are going to start seeing new little leaves, and those are going to be your new side shoots, and these plants are going to start branching out. So let me zoom in, but this is going to go even faster than thinning them out. And then this cell tray is going to be looking really good. Oh, I do want to mention one thing, and let me go ahead and show you an example here. I am noticing on some of these plants, and it may be a little hard to see, so I will do this when I zoom in as well, but some of these leaves are starting to get a little bit of yellow veining. That to me is telling me that these plants need fertilized. So when I get done with this next step of pinching, I am probably going to give these a little bit of fertilizer, and then these will continue to get the fertilizer every week. That can just be a sign they need some nutrients. So I am going to be doing that after I do this step. All right, let me zoom in for you. All right, so this plant right here I wanted to show you. You can start to see a little bit of yellowing in the leaves. That is the sign that I think it needs nutrients. But as far as pinching goes, I'm going to be clipping that off anyway. But I still think that those plants need some nutrients. Now, as far as the pinching goes, the first set of leaves on your plant are not the true leaves. It's the second set of leaves on the plant that are the true leaves. So I want to come in and cut right above that first set of true leaves, which is actually the second set of leaves. And I'm going to do that to all of these plants. Some of them are not as far along as others, and so I have to be a little bit careful when I'm doing this, or just wait another week. And I'm going to cut right above there. And then now there's a main stem here. Right in here is where I'm going to start seeing that new growth. All right, so I want to make sure that you guys can see this really good. Here is a snapdragon plant. This is the first set of leaves. This is the first set of true leaves. I'm trying to get this guy out here for you to see. So I am going to cut it right above that first set of true leaves right here. See, the top is off, and now right in here, right at that branching point, that's where we're gonna start seeing the new growth. So that's what I'm gonna do with every one of these plants. And these things are gonna start branching out in no time. Now, if my plants are a lot taller and a little further along, I will just go ahead and cut them above the second set of true leaves. But these all are pretty consistent, and I am doing it above the first set of true leaves. All right, the pinching step is done and this tray is ready to go. Now I am gonna put a little fertilizer on it, and the fertilizer that I use is the Espoma Grow. It's a liquid fertilizer, and according to the instructions, you wanna use a cap full, I believe for, I don't have my fertilizer here, so I have to do this when I get back to work, but I believe it's a half cap per quart. So you wanna do 2 caps per gallon, and it won't take a full gallon to do this. So I will probably just mix a half gallon of it, water the tops, give them a little bit of a boost, and then I should really see these things start branching out in no time. So anyway, that is gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how I treat my Snapdragons, and hopefully I'll be planting these out in the hoop house within a few weeks. I will make sure to do a video when I do. So anyway, stay tuned for a lot more this growing season. There's a lot more going on, and I cannot wait to share it all with you guys. We will see you soon.